So I went to the cinema last week to watch Matt Reeves' The Batman, and I loved it. I think it was very unique and very different to every other Batman movie that I've seen before. This iteration of Batman is closer to a movie like Seven than any other Batman movie that I can think of. The Batman is a detective thriller movie as opposed to your typical action-focused Batman films like The Dark Knight Rises and Batman v Superman. With The Batman now out in cinemas, many people on social media have been comparing it to another iconic Batman film, The Dark Knight. Now, whilst this may be recency bias, I still feel that there is a good comparison to be had here. Categorise both the movies based on factors that they share, even though there are a lot of differences with the movie, granted. So the categories I will be ranking the movies off will be the character of Batman, as well as the contrast to the persona of Bruce Wayne, the villain of the movie, the way that Gotham is developed in the movie, and the ending of both movies. So now, without further ado, let's move on to the first category. Straight off the bat, get it? I'm going to have to side with Robert Pattinson's Batman for both his suit and his voice. Now don't get me wrong, the suit is at no fault of Christian Bale. The Pattinson's Batsuit is stronger as we see it take rounds of machine gun fire without so much as a scratch, whilst Bale's suit is crippled by a single pistol shot from Two-Face. As well as this, Pattinson's Batman also had gadgets like his Batarang badge on his chest and his arm tasers, which are fucking badass. Same cannot be said about the Bat voice, however. Pattinson's voice was just so normal sounding and basic, whilst Bale's isn't.
What's the difference between you and me?
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Like he's trying to do something and I can sort of respect it, it's just goofy and really takes you out of the movie whenever he speaks. However, I think one aspect of the Batman that The Dark Knight gets right is the contrast between the characters of Bruce Wayne and Batman. In The Batman, there is no difference between how Batman and Bruce Wayne act when they're in public. They're both equally mopey and depressed. Whilst in The Dark Knight, there is a very clear difference in behaviour between Batman and Bruce Wayne. In The Dark Knight, Bruce Wayne portrays himself as a typical arrogant, careless young billionaire. This perception of him is crucial in a Batman movie, as it helps to validate why Bruce Wayne has eluded suspicion of being the Batman, because obviously he disappeared for so long and then returned. As people wouldn't assume some rich asshole would be running around the streets at night beating the shit out of criminals for fun. This is definitely the hardest category for me to give a point in, but for the main reason he has far more attention on him within the movie than Bale's Batman does, I'm going to have to side with Pattinson's Batman for this round. Okay, now this round won't take too much time, as I'm sure you're all well aware of who's winning this category, but for the sake of argument, let's just look at both sides. The Riddler in the Batman movie works perfectly, as the Riddler is an intelligent and mysterious person, which fits perfectly into the crime thriller genre that Matt Reeves was aiming for. Paul Dano also pulls off a great performance as the Riddler, even if he is just a walked-down version of the Joker in the third act. Speaking of the Joker, he takes this round, and to be honest, it's not even close. This iteration of the Joker is, in my opinion, the best live-action villain I have ever seen in a film. Jesus, I can hear the Star Wars fanboys just typing their essays in the comments already. The Joker is so terrifying in this movie. The idea of not giving him a backstory was a stroke of genius on the Nolan brothers' part. This ambiguity about who he is and what he ultimately wants constantly leaves the viewer feeling uneasy and leaves the Batman feeling weak. Probably the weakest he's ever felt in any movie, as he can't understand his opponent, and when he can't understand his opponent, it means he has an immense struggle trying to defeat him. But I have to talk about the elephant in the room. The elephant, of course, being Heath Ledger's performance. I mean, oh my god. I have never, ever been more unsettled watching an acting performance than I have when I was watching Heath Ledger in this movie. He is so unhinged and so menacing that you truly do not know what he's going to do next. The makeup and the costume is perfect, his mannerisms are genius, and the laugh, what the fuck is up with that laugh? I cannot stress enough how much I love Heath Ledger in this movie. In my opinion, possibly the greatest acting performance of all time. The city of Gotham is so important in every good Batman story. It almost acts as a character within the story itself. So it's important to get it right. In The Dark Knight, as well as the Nolan trilogy in general, the way the characters like Bruce, the Joker, Ra's al Ghul and Bane talk about the city does a good job at highlighting the crime and corruption and the overall sense of despair within the city. With that being said, the Batman shows the city in a way that I've never seen before. The use of colour, the weather and the crowding shown in Gotham in these movies is a really visceral image. It feels like you can almost smell what it would be like to be in a city with that. It's disgusting. It just looks so dirty and horrible. And on top of that, every major figure within the city is uncovered to be all involved in some major conspiracy, further illustrating how hopeless the whole city of Gotham really is, as even the people in power have given up on it. And the only two people who seem to care about saving the city are Jim Gordon and Bruce Wayne. So for me, the Batman wins this round. Both of these movies have similar endings, as both end with Bruce Wayne realising what he has to stand for within the city of Gotham in order to help save it. The difference is that they both have to stand for different things. In the end of the Batman realises he has to do more than just help by beating up criminals. He has to look after the weak as well. He has to defend those who need help. Also, at the end of The Dark Knight, Bruce realises Batman has to become the villain in order for Harvey Dent, a man without a mask, Gotham's White Knight, to be the true hero. As Batman takes the blame for all the crimes that Harvey Dent commits during the third act. Batman, in the end of the Batman, becomes some sort of Jesus figure within Gotham. He becomes a shining beacon. In the end of the Dark Knight, he becomes the Dark Knight. He becomes a dark figure lurking in the shadows. He becomes the villain, but he saves the city at the same time. And I think to top it all off, the symbolic nature of the final line in the Dark Knight trilogy really seals this as the winner for me.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I can do those things, because I'm not a hero. Not like Dent. I killed those people. That's what I can be.
No, you can't. You're not.
I'm whatever Gotham needs me to be. Call it in.
A hero. Not the hero we deserved, but the hero we needed. Nothing less than a knight. Shining.
I'll hunt you. You'll hunt me. You'll condemn me. Set the dogs on me. Because that's what needs to happen. Because sometimes truth isn't good enough. Sometimes people deserve more. Sometimes people deserve to have their faith rewarded.
Why is he running, Dad?
Because we have to chase him.
Okay, we're going in! Go, go!
He didn't do anything wrong.
Because he's the hero Gotham deserves. But not the one it needs right now. So we'll hunt him. Because he can take it. Because he's not a hero. He's a silent guardian. A watchful protector. A dark knight.
Now, to round out this video, I feel like I should give my own opinion on both movies. Whilst I really enjoyed both movies, I mean, The Batman, as I said, was an amazing movie and probably the second best Batman movie I've ever seen. For me, The Dark Knight will always be my favourite film. The fast-paced energy never gives you a second to breathe. The villain, as I said, is powerful and chaotic and is rounded off with one of the best performances of all time. And the third act is literally flawless in my opinion. I mean, many people pick out plot holes, but to me it's just so well crafted and well executed. If you disagree with my thoughts, feel free to let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like and subscribe to stay up to date with content on the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.